co-living house and location. Where can you do co-living? Let me take you through a few phases. Big picture to small, okay? So come with me here. Zoom out. You're looking at a map, full United States. So can you do it anywhere in the United States? Well, what are you solving with co-living? You're solving affordability. Are we only have a problem with affordability housing in Arizona, California, Florida? No, every single state has an affordability problem. It is an epidemic. It's huge. So anything we can do to help is fantastic. So co-living from that standpoint can work anywhere on the map. So if you're just looking per state, every state is going to light up. Okay, it can work. Now, start there. Let's zoom in. You could pick any state at that point and zoom in on that state. Now let's talk state level. Well, there's big cities and small cities. It can work in various cities. However, if you don't have enough demand in that city, what I would worry about is creating a co-living house and not be able to fill it. Okay? So you do have to check on population, right? And let's face it, the bigger the city, generally, the more of affordability problem there is because prices are higher, right? So typically, the bigger the city, the better. So in Arizona, we're in Phoenix. Would I do it in Tucson? Yes. Could I probably do it in Flagstaff, right? Like still other bigger cities like that? Yeah. I think you could also do it in Yuma, but those cities are quite a bit smaller. So do you want to expand quickly there? Not sure. Okay. So you want to be in a city though. Now, let's zoom in further to the city. Let's take Phoenix, Arizona, where I am. We're zooming into the Phoenix area metro. Where in the Phoenix metro do I want to buy them? I don't want to buy them on the outskirts. That's not where most people are looking for housing. Most people are looking inside. Now there's more reasons. But it's all demand, but there's other reasons that are linked to demand to tell you what locations work and what don't. For example, transportation, okay? A lot of these people, they don't have cars, right? Remember, we're talking about affordable housing, okay? Now, some of these people are traveling nurses, some of them have more money, right? But we're still making something affordable. So that person, that traveling nurse might be like, hey, left their car back at home and they're living in this house for 6 months or longer to fulfill a contract. They didn't want to bring the car and they're doing public transportation because it's close by the hospital and their whole world is right there, right? So you need to be close to public transportation. Usually I say about a half mile or closer, okay? Definitely not a mile or further away. That's too far. You're not going to be able to fill it because half of the people, if I do an 8 or 9 bedroom house, I don't want 8 or 9 cars outside, right? So, and we can talk more about that in another video, but usually you're like half. So it's like half the people are using public transportation. So if you're on the outskirts, is public transportation done really well? No. A lot of times there's not even buses or anything that goes out there. So you need to be the more central, the better for this to work. And once again, pricing goes up the closer into the city you get, which means you're actually solving more of a problem, okay? So that's location. That's where you should be looking for co-living property. Okay, so imagine we're in Phoenix now. We're in the main city, like we were just talking about. And I'm like, okay, I'm looking around. Does that house work? Does this house work? What I'm looking for is I'm looking for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house at minimum, okay? The more bedrooms and bathrooms, the better to start off with because we're always going to be adding more. Now, if I start with a 2-bedroom, 1-bath, I have to add, it's going to cost me a whole lot more and I might not be able to get enough bedrooms in there to make the math work. So for example, I just underwrote a house yesterday teaching somebody this that was looking at a 5 to 6 bedroom. And by having somebody else manage it, even a 5-bedroom house, he would make only about $200 a month, right? Which doesn't really support any hiccup, okay? Now, you put it down to, it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house right now. If he does co-living and only rents out 3, he actually loses $900 a month. And it's because these are all inclusive. We're creating a space that includes electric, water, internet, etc. Okay? So these houses, I have to be able to fit 8 bedrooms. So our buy box, right? What we are looking for while we're shopping is, where's a house where I can get at least 8 bedrooms in that house? So typically that tells me I need an 1,800 square foot home with a garage. 1,800 square feet typically give me 6 bedrooms. Now, are there 1,700 and change square feet homes that can get me 6 bedrooms? Yes, but very low percentage. So we do draw the line typically on 1,800 square foot minimum to look at, because sometimes I'll look at, I just went and looked at a 2,700 square foot home that couldn't give me 9 bedrooms. Yeah. And you're like, blow my mind. I'm like, that layout is so horrible. So we typically 1,800 square feet. I want a 3-bedroom, 2-bath, so I'll be adding bedrooms, but not a ton of bathrooms, so it doesn't cost us as much in the conversion and in that garage. Okay, so if it has that, the house itself will probably work if it still meets the location and other criteria we talked about. So when that house, a 2,700 square foot house, you would think, like you said, there's no way you can't fit 8 bedrooms in there. But this is what happens. There is dead space. Dead space is the killer. Okay, so on that 2,700 square foot house, let me tell you a couple of the things why it killed it. Number 1, there was a guest house that was attached to the house. Now that guest house has its own kitchen. So could you, and it's its own guest house, it's a studio guest house. So it had its own bathroom, its bedroom, and kitchen, okay? Now that's quite a bit of square feet if you actually add it up, but there's only one room that you can have there, right? Because since it's attached, but it's attached to the house, but there's no pass through for it. So what that means is that bathroom, and the bathroom comes off of the 1 bedroom in a way where you can't give access to anybody else. So even though you have one, so that bathroom is now a private bathroom, can't be shared. You can only fit 1, and this studio was bigger than your standard bedroom. So you're losing square feet for that. So you can't really fit in 2 bedrooms, and then the kitchen's there and it's separate. So at that point, you just gotta leave the kitchen and rent that out as a studio with its own kitchen. But so you instantly 2,700 square feet, right? I mean, you're dropping 400 square feet down just by that one studio. Here's another thing. They had a single car garage conversion, and those tend to be a little bit longer. But when we walked in there and we checked it all out, it was longer, but not long enough to become 2 bedrooms. So now you're like, oh, dang, that's only 1 bedroom. Even though there's a lot of extra square feet in here, we couldn't maximize on it. One more third thing in that house specifically. You walk over and there's that little niche where the table most of the time is, that kitchen nook. Well, just like a lot of people when they go look at yours when you go home. See how big that area is. A lot of times they're not big enough for a bedroom. And unfortunately, we already had space in the middle of the house where the table was gonna go for everybody. So now we have more dead space. So you can see just a lot of dead space in that specific house is how that square feet can be lost really, really fast. The one other thing I'll tell you is I mentioned on another question how I just underwrote a property for somebody else, and it was 5 bedrooms. They had a little space in the middle of the house. So what does a bedroom need? A bedroom needs a door to get in, a window, right? That's really all the bedroom really needs, okay? Now, according to real estate, if you're selling it with a bedroom, it also needs a closet, right? Now, with co-living, you could do a built-in closet. You could bring in furniture to help cover that for that need, right? But you wouldn't really be able to sell it as a bedroom if you don't have a built-in closet. But we don't need built-in closets for every bedroom, as long as we can fulfill the need, right? Well, but if the bedroom's right in the middle, sometimes dining rooms are right in the middle of a house, and you can create your own door. You are like, oh yeah, I'll do this wall. Here's the door to get in. How are you gonna put a window in that? There's no exterior wall. So there's a lot of houses that have dead space. So even though 1,800 square feet, 3-bedroom, 2-bath. I have people send those to me and we'll underwrite them. There's lots of them where it's like, nope, unfortunately the layout is poor. So assuming, like you said, location's good and layout is good and the details of the house itself pass all of our requirements, right? Somebody sent that to me and we're underwriting and looking at that. How do we acquire it? Now at that point, right, when the deal is sent over or we found it ourselves, it's typically going to be one of two things. It's either going to be a cash purchase, right? They're going to say, you can buy this house for this price, or it's a creative deal. And it's going to have a price, but also have other terms with it, where somebody, whether it be the seller, someone's going to be the bank, okay? So creatively or cash, those are the two ways that we buy. So I will know at that point which way it is. So if it's cash, well, the price just has to be right because one, we're going to have to pay that money to buy the property. Two, generally it's going to be quite a bit discounted because we're going to have to go in and do all these renovations, right? A lot of houses aren't ready to go. I love houses that are ready to go when that comes to condition of the house, right? So we can keep the kitchen cabinets and all that stuff, and we're just adding walls, so that keeps our construction down. I'm willing to pay more for a house that's that way. But ultimately, when you buy these cash properties, you usually have to come in with cash and then you're gonna refinance them afterwards. Everyone has a limit. I don't care if it's 1, 10, 100, you're gonna run out of cash. So you actually, if you buy them cash, you refinance them out with a bank loan, right? But what the goal is on this one is you're gonna buy it cash, do the remodeling, make it look nice, and then refinance so you can try to get all of your money out and keep your bank loan in there. So that's one option. That's not my favorite option. The better option is creatively. The seller becomes the bank with seller financing, or they have a great 2, 3, 4% bank loan. We buy it, take it over, subject to, take over those properties, and that keeps our monthly payment low, and then we spend the extra renovation money to add the extra bedrooms. So there's gonna be one of those two methods on how we acquire the property. And then, and I referenced making this video, we had a recent video, 90 days on how to get started in co-living. So if you haven't watched that, go watch that, right? But I reference this because this is what you have to do to find that house. And then go watch that 90-day, how to get started in 90 days. And that will be, boom, you found the house, you bought it, you just closed on it. Now get the ball rolling and get your construction and all that. So how do we handle parking with this type of scenario? Because it's a single family home. Was it designed from the get-go with having 8 to 9 bedrooms, right? I mean, families, like, yeah, they know, hey, typically traditional, right? But it's like, okay, parents probably around 2, kids, maybe 3 kids, right? 2 to 3 kids. So it's like houses a lot of times are built for 5 people, maybe 6. So when you're talking 8 to 9 people, that's more people. So one, just an extra bonus here for you is sometimes there's adjustments we have to make to the house for that. Both, do we have to add extra bathrooms? What about laundry? What about all this other stuff? But specifically with parking, yeah, now this could be 8 to 9 adults, or is going to be 8 to 9 adults. They might have cars, not just 2 adults. So parking's a thing. We do not let everyone have a car, okay? We do not want, and I reference this, but we do not want 8 to 9 cars in front of a house, right? We want to add value to a neighborhood and make it nice. We take care of the property, etc. So our neighbors absolutely love us, absolutely. And so part of one of the things that we do though is we cap the cars. So it's not just, we have a rule. So if say it's 8 or 9, we're gonna cap it at 4 to maybe 5 cars max at that house. First come, first serve. So if somebody calls, wants a room, and we haven't hit our max, hey, great, do you have a car? Yes or no? Perfect. Now that's 1 spot taken. Now once we hit 4 or 5, depending on the house, we'll predetermine. Number 6 calls, oh, you have a car? Sorry, this house is not for you. Luckily, we have quite a few, so it's, hey, where else are you looking? Let me go look at some of our other inventory that we could help fulfill that for. But that's how we handle the cars. And typically, if you're doing 4 to 5 cars, you're not gonna have a garage because we probably converted the garage, but you're gonna have a driveway. So if you're 4 cars, you could have 2 in the driveway and 2 very easily on the street right in front of the house. Those are some great questions. Thank you for those. And I hope people can take those answers and start finding these type of deals. Like this is a need absolutely to help people with affordable housing. And it's not that often when you could go help people and fix a need and make good money at the same time. And that is why I'm in love with co-living investing.